And it's another live show. And today is my sister's birthday, so I just got done basically having some cake and enjoying some family time together with them. So I didn't have a lot of time to prepare tonight's show, but I did manage to put together some stuff within about 10 minutes because luckily Randy Boyum had sent me a bunch of cool stuff actually to show you guys. And now last week, I think at the end of the show, we kind of discussed that we might start tonight's show off with one of Randy's funnier films, which we've shown before, but it always kind of makes me laugh, and it's called Fast Food. And so we're going to watch this, and this is kind of gives you a taste of what Randy does. So here we go.
A double cheeseburger, onion rings, and a large orange drink, please. Did you get my order? A double cheeseburger, onion rings, and a large orange drink. No, I want a cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, onion rings, and a large orange drink. A cheeseburger. I want to listen to me. Shut up. A double cheeseburger. Say it. Double cheeseburger. Double cheeseburger. Right. Onion rings. Say it. Onion rings. Onion rings. And a large orange drink. Large orange drink. Drink. Say it. Drink. I want a double cheeseburger, onion ring, and a large orange drink. Ah!
So that is, yeah, it's a good way to start the year off, right, Ron? Pretty funny. And so Randy says, I shot this video 23 years ago, but yeah, but you know what? That's like a timeless, funny video. Because, yeah, I think everybody's kind of had those kind of experiences before. We can all relate. So, anyway, so Randy still, 23 years later, is still making projects. And so he tried to upload some of these pictures to our website, but I think our website isn't either configured properly or these pictures are very large. And let's see, 1.8 megabytes. I mean, that's not so large. Yeah, I think I might have to alter my alter the website. It's not just mine, obviously, but he's been working on this project for dock tablets, and what it is he explained it basically. He was commissioned to work with another animator to do an intro and outro to explain diabetes for patients who don't understand what diabetes is. Maybe like younger people, or people that just have never heard of it, didn't know that eating too much sugar is bad for you. And so Randy did not do the 2D animation, so we're not really going to show. I might show a piece of that here, but we're going to look at the intro and outro to the dock tablet project he worked on. So let me make sure this is on. Okay, let's watch. Alright, so that was the intro, and this here is the outro, but Randy explains that the company hired another animator to do the 2D animation, but still, it's pretty good stuff. So let's watch. Make sure the audio's on. Right, so it's not really particularly long, but really good animation, and also the sets are also very nicely made, as you can see. And the intro again. So I mean, it's not exactly simple. Just to say it's simple is kind of somewhat insulting, because there's a lot of books here. We got props, and we got textures on the wall, flowers, plants, and also this dock tablet screen, which I'm assuming is either green or blue screen, probably green screen, and then the puppet has to sort of go in through the wormhole, or whatever you want to call it. The transformation wormhole into a okay, so that's basically the premise. And so Randy sent me these stills, and we're going to check these out. So let's see. And Randy was saying that the audio that we heard on his large orange drink fast food comedy sketch there was not his audio. It was from a radio piece from the 1960s. So yeah, I can kind of imagine in the 1960s that the microphone and transmitters back then were probably not so good. So I don't know, maybe it was even worse in the 60s trying to order a hamburger, but here's a still picture, and you can see the scale next to his hand. So I'm assuming that's about maybe 8.5 inches tall or so of a puppet. And this here is looks like I wonder if I can make that bigger in any way. Let me see, view image. Let me see what that does. Here we go. It's a little bit bigger. I can do this. There we go. That's a lot better. So we got this piece of wire up here. Looks like a piece of maybe aluminum electrical wire and a little paper clamp with some wires coming down. And there's like it's like a needle. Maybe a needle and thread. And underneath there's also a piece of wire. So Ron is saying the mic and speakers still suck, and Randy says yes, speakers and mics sucked in the 60s. And he says the puppet is 9 inches tall. Okay. And he says that these clips that were that we just watched were created or finished being created in December 1st. So that was the deadline. And that's a lot of books. So Randy, what did you do for the books? Did you use your printer to sort of print out the spine of each of these books? Or were these some sort of like miniature store-bought books perhaps? Or It's pretty neat. Let me see if I can. Oh, okay. Here we go. And do this again. Gonna expand the picture. Nobody wants to see a small picture. And here's the puppet. Looks like here's his cape and his shoulders. And he says that he used thread to hang the cape. Okay, so here's the cape. So he used thread. And the bookcase is filled with photos of actual medical books. Cool. Ah, okay. So what it is they're not actually separate books. It's like one picture of a whole bunch of books, maybe, and then you cut out the top and bottom. And Claymore is saying, it's clay, right? And Randy says, the lower wire held out the edge of the cape. Ah, okay. So he's referring to this picture. So the bottom part of the cape was being held out by the rig from below, so underneath here, to get that sort of wavy motion. And he says that I took pics of the books at Barnes & Noble and the library, photoshopped them to 1 inch tall. That's pretty cool. And Al Raj is asking, you know, how many hours a day did you work? Because that would be a lot of hours. So basically 5-month shoot. And Randy said he had to do major surgery to install the cape that he puts on. And so this bookshelf consists of one 10-inch long picture. And so he took the pictures, put them in Photoshop, printed them out, and just cut out the top parts so it looks like there's a whole lot of books in there. That's pretty clever. Let me go back here. And so here again is the surgery he had to do on his puppet to get the cape on. And you can see inside sort of what the armature consists of. So we have now, Randy, this is electrical copper wire, perhaps. That's kind of what it looks like here in the arms and the neck. And so Ron is saying, I'm still not brave enough. Oop, do I still have... Oh, okay. He says, I'm still not brave enough to animate clay. It's very intimidating. I fear dirty clay and smears. Yeah, that's all kind of part of it. You kind of have to take that as part of the whole look of clay animation, because clay animation has a lot of that sort of pixelated edges and smears and things. But one thing that a lot of animators do is they use polarizing filters on their cameras, which filter out polarizing light. And that polarized light is essentially the shiny stuff that you see. Will Vinton Productions use that on almost all their cameras to shoot their films, because between frames you'd smooth the clay out with mineral oil, and that shininess would be distracting. So they would, the polarizing filter takes that shine out of it, and it doesn't really look, it looks a lot nicer in some ways. But if you are careful in how you smooth your clay, you don't have to really use a filter like that. Sometimes you can just take like a small paintbrush with really soft bristles, and when you use it to smooth out any cracks and crevices, or if you use your fingers and you have a little bit of oil on there, any surface that's a bit oily, you would just take a smooth bristled brush and just kind of go over it, and then wipe the brush onto like a paper towel, and it takes that shine out. So there's a lot of tricks, a lot of tricks to it. But yeah, it depends on what you're after. I think if you started out with foam, latex, and silicone puppets, or using the build-up method, it seems like you're compromising a lot with clay. But it's just a different style, different look to it. Now, so Randy says that his time daily varied a lot from 1 to 10 hours. So, and he said he had to hardwire the cape so it would support itself. I see. So this here is, in order to hold the cape up properly, he put it into the shoulders, which would be very strong. And he's saying, yes, copper electrical wire to make all his armatures. Wow. So here's the next one. You can see a lot of copper wire, and it looks like a small bench vise to make him fly. That's pretty cool. And he says darker clay hides the dirt better, but there is a lot of scraping involved to keep the puppet clean. And clay sweats under lights. I just rub it the right way and the shine goes away. Yeah, very cool. It's kind of neat to see this picture, actually. It's like, let me make it bigger for you guys. It's always kind of cool to see what the camera doesn't see. You've got all this, catastrophe under the set, but it's so neat to look at and to know that, all this, the work that went into it. You can see the sort of aftermath of that underneath there, all the different, looks like some either clay or foam pieces, and got some more wire over here and the wooden blocks to support the wood and everything. It's just, I guess I feel at home in a space like that. Because that's how my spaces usually end up looking. And so Ron says, I animated my marionette that was all white and mostly clay. It was a traumatic thing and many hours in Photoshop erasing dirt speckles. Well, yeah, you were using white. White pretty much picks up every little speck. I don't know if there's any other way to get around that, though. I mean, actually, you started to shoot that on actual film, though, right? So, did you have the same problem, Ron, using film? Because film was actually used at Wolverton Productions, and they said that the film grain would hide a lot of the specks of dirt and stuff. And so Randy's saying, yep, it was a netch vise. Netch vise to support my flying rings. Bench vise, yeah. Yeah, it's not really a catastrophe because, whenever I work in a space like this and I put something down, if I'm too organized, it's almost like I lose things more often in an organized space. So I kind of prefer, in a lot of ways, a beautiful mess like that. But let me go back here. There's one more picture. Let's go back to... Okay, and here is the camera. So you can see the setup here. And the sculpting tools that he used are here. Got a pen, a pencil. We got wooden type spoon tool, and one with some angular shapes to it. And looks like a clay knife as well. And maybe some eyeballs, maybe some for eyelids, I guess, with the different replacement lids. That's pretty cool. That's a smart idea. And Randy says, white clay sucks. I did that with 2 aliens in How to Survive an Alien Abduction. So Ron says, I was going to live with the imperfections, but Photoshop became part of my life right in the middle of shooting that. Yeah. Yeah, Photoshop is good for a lot of stuff. I couldn't live without it, I don't think. So yeah, that's pretty neat. And got obviously like a hot glue gun perhaps over here. And it looks like the tripod is supported with either clay or fun tack. Seems to be. And what else can we gather from this? And so, Randy, are these replacement hands here in the center, or why did you need them? If it is, why did you need replacement hands? I'm just kind of wondering. And so Ron says, a clean shop is a shop starved of work. That's very, very true. Extremely true. All right. So what do you guys think? That's pretty neat. So dock tablet. Now, there is a longer version of this, but there's no additional stop motion, unfortunately. It's essentially like this, I don't know, what do you call it, a whiteboard animation. So we have Randy's animation here where he goes into the screen. Oh, it paused. It's kind of a good place to pause, though. And Randy says, yes, they were replacement hands, and mostly to he makes new hands when they get dirty. And Stamp Motion says, Mark, have you ever seen the site welovestopmotion.com? I think so. Isn't that just a conglomeration of what do you call it? Videos. I think I've seen that. Let me just put it in the address bar on my other screen here and take a look. Maybe we can show that later. Ah, okay. Yes, I have seen this. I have seen it. Yeah, if I recall, it's not updated very often. I used to visit, but I haven't looked at the site in a long time. But we can bring it up, sure. So Randy says some of the hands are hard baked. All right, so we're gonna go to the end here and just watch the outro once again for Dock Tablet. There we go. All right, maybe we can watch that one more time. Here we go. Okay, so it's there's not a lot of dialogue. There's no heavy plots or anything, and it seems simple, but a lot of work obviously went into that. Looks great. I think it looks awesome. Okay, yeah, we'll bring that up probably later on. welovestopmotion.com. We'll check it out. And all right, so anyways, thank you, Randy, for sharing what you've done. And if anybody is actually interested to visit the Dock Tablet website on Facebook, just look up Dock Tablet on there. And I don't know if there's much more to be found here. I haven't looked, but they have a photo section, and it looks like the character is here as well. So there's like some 2D animation as well as pictures of Randy's work too. Looks like there's actually some more pictures on here that we didn't see. Here's one of the extra pairs of hands you can see. And Randy says the professor was doing his best Wolverine impression that day. We can see the wires kind of coming out, sticking out a bit. Here's some of these little awards. Pretty awesome. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And here's the sketch next to the clay version. Really, it's a perfect likeness. It's like exactly the same. So, all right. So definitely check it out, guys. That's Doc Tablet. And to find it on YouTube, they have a Doc Tablet YouTube channel. And A Diabetes Train Ride is the title for what Randy worked on. And I guess that's pretty much it. All right. Very awesome. All right. So now, this here is a video that Claymara sent us. And she made this video. It's for Air, well, let's see. Air Melushka, and I'm not sure. Claymara, is that the name of? So Air is the name of the video, and Melushka is the band. I'm taking it. Let me make it big. Make sure the audio's on. All right, so this is 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So by Claymara. So let's watch. Okay, so there it is. And so Clay Mara is has been busy working hard, obviously, on that. And she said her camera died on her, so that's gonna be frustrating. Um, but you did have a new camera, didn't you? Like, didn't you try out another kind of camera that you found? Or I remember seeing something about that. And she says that she's gonna be buying Dragon Frame when she gets to the Netherlands and the new camera because hers gave up on hers. And so Beard Botnick says he just got a new webcam for his home setup. And so Claymara says, took me 2 years to make it. Yeah, that's a long time, but it's 4 minutes 15 seconds long. It's a long film actually for stop motion. That's really good. And yeah, the painterly style that Clay Mora, she sort of paints with her clay, and it's just so nice to look at. It's aesthetically pleasing. Like this one of this little island here. It's just so cool to look at that. All the little white, you get the waves, and you got the just looks nice. That's all I'll say, I guess. So, and Randy Boyums says, you spent a lot of time on the sets. Very nice. And Ron Cole says, beautiful. And welcome to the show, Janet. All right, so we're just discussing some stop motion here. If you're late to the show. And that was Clay Mara, who created the video called Air for Malushka. That's the official video. All right. So now, what to show next? Maybe we'll talk about this next because this is kind of cool. Actually, both things are kind of cool we're going to talk about. But Ron Cole sent in a link to me for some filament. And you guys know that I really like 3D printing, and I really think it's revolutionary what 3D printing is going to do for pretty much everybody. I think it's gonna, pretty much almost everything will be made by 3D printing in combination with a few other techniques. But I think 3D printing is going to be the main technique used for engineering in the future, because it's essentially superior in a lot of ways, in that you can make things using 3D printing even in solid steel or titanium, using laser techniques with metallic powders, and you can also print things now in carbon fiber with carbon fiber filaments. And also there are 3D printers that are coming onto the market which will literally 3D print a sort of resin plastic. They heat it up, and there's one strand of carbon fiber in this filament that mathematically is laid out over the course of a print to make super strong objects and super lightweight objects, for example. So just technology is just taking off with 3D printing, and car manufacturers and even NASA and all of these other airplane companies are using it to essentially make things faster, cheaper, lighter. So that would include things like stop motion armatures, I believe. I believe that's going to be something where a lot of the machine processes that were done in the past, which would be labor intensive, like for example breathing mechanisms, which can be very difficult to machine out of aluminum. Those parts don't necessarily need to look beautiful, but if you 3D print them, you can get a high amount of functionality, and it's just superior in some ways. But anyways, Ron Cole recently found something out, and Adam Bean is a sculptor, and you guys have probably heard of him before. He creates a clay that he sells. It's CX5. it's not really clay. It's a sort of middle ground between clay and wax. And he is traditionally a wax carver and sculptor. And he makes really super high quality, highly detailed sculptures for, I think he was working for, oh man, what's that guy's name again? He worked for a company that would make these plastic figures of sports characters, and I can't remember off the top of my head the it's gonna bug me. I can't remember his name, but and now Beard Botnick says printers are dropping in price significantly. Yeah, and they will drop significantly. I mean, there's gonna be a certain price that you probably can't go below eventually because of the stepper motors. Stepper motors are not cheap, and but yeah, there's just a lot of options now for people with 3D printers. But so here he is sculpting Matt Damon, and this is his CX5 formula, which is, like I say, it's very waxy. I think you can heat it up in boiling water, and it's sculptable, and then as it cools, you carve it with tools. And the reason why wax is used often for toys, manufacturing toys traditionally, is because you can smooth it. You can smooth it more than any sort of clay because of the grain inside of it. Like traditional modeling clay has marble dust and other fillers, and when you try to smooth it, when you use something like, for example, mineral oil or olive oil or alcohol. Alcohol is pretty common for McFarlane sports figures. That's right. Yeah, Donna knows what I'm talking about. But when you try to smooth out clay and you try to smooth out even like Super Sculpey to a degree, if you use like alcohol to smooth Super Sculpey, you wash away all of the finer materials, and what is left are the larger, coarser materials on the surface as you smooth. So a lot of times you can smooth things to a degree, but you can never really get it super smooth where it's really slick and polished like glass. Whereas wax, you use a lot of tools that are hot, and it essentially melts the surface, and all that wax is very shiny and clean. So that's why a lot of these companies like to hire wax sculptors essentially to make like this really awesome, not just an awesome likeness here, but the surface is extremely clean, and when you make a mold of this, you get some really beautiful castings from that. So wax is great, but for most beginners, I imagine, like myself, I try to sculpt in wax before, and I used to be a wax carver at a jewelry store, but the wax was hard, and you actually carved it with tools, not the same kind of techniques as this. But I did try to sculpt in wax and found it very difficult. But what Adam has created is something where you can use ZBrush or you can use Sculptress, which is a program. I think maybe I can bring it up really quickly for you guys, which I've shown in the past. So Sculptress is a program which you can essentially make whatever you want in here. You can shape your sphere that you start out with into whatever you need, and from here you can export it, and as I've shown on a previous show, whatever shape you make in here you can 3D print. This is a free program, and it's very easy to learn. I'm not really going to show you guys much more than that because that's not really the point. But Sculptress is the name, and from there you can 3D print what you make in Sculptress. But the problem is once you print it, you can't really modify PLA or um, ABS plastics from your 3D printer, which are the most common printing materials. So here is a product that Adam came up with, which kind of solves that. So let's. And so what he's invented is a filament which will work through your 3D printer. And so I have not watched this video, but here's a 3D printer in action. So let's just kind of watch, and you can see in this video how that works. And how it works is that filament that you saw, that sort of thin ribbon of gray material, is his sculpting medium. And what it does is it goes into something like this here. This here is just a piece of metal, and this here is a resistor, and electricity is put through there, and it heats that resistor up to a certain temperature. And then next to it is a thermistor which reads the temperature. And so you can change the temperature to be whatever you need. So I would imagine for Adam Bean, for his filament, you probably would use a low temperature, say 80 degrees Celsius or something like that. And a gear will push that filament through here, through this tube. Once that tube, or the filament goes through the tube and it hits this hot spot here, it melts. And it comes through a little nozzle. And you can see some of it kind of dribbling out here in this video. And it seems like what they've done is they've got two colors of filament going through this tube. So this is not something that is, this is a more complicated way to do things, but essentially that's how it works. It just, it's like a hot glue gun. It just layers, layers up constantly until there's enough layers to make a shape. And I'm not sure what kind. This is a homemade version of a 3D printer, but you can see here this is the gear pushing the filament through. So I don't know if what he's doing would work well on any standard printer, or what kind of settings you would use. But like I say, it sounds really exciting, and it's sculptable. So if you're fast at sculpting or roughing in stuff in ZBrush, you can essentially make your sculptures beforehand in there and print them, and then just clean them up and detail them in wax and get something you can make a mold of, a tangible physical object. So that would be pretty awesome. Now Ron says he sculpted a Miss Butterworth for an animated ad that needed to be cast clear to look like syrup, so I sculpted it in Sculpey and polished the baked parts. Yep, yeah, you can do that. That's a good way to make it smooth. And Jason says he remembers using blue wax for jewelry. That's cool. And Dean says, "Oh, I thought Mark was gonna do a Matt Damon." Nope, that's not me. I did not sculpt that. But that's pretty cool though. That he, I think he's a better sculptor than I am actually. Now, Beard Botnik says, I wonder how much you can change the material when sculpting, like if you could open that dinosaur's mouth more. If so, that would be great for making replacement face parts. Well, yeah, and you could technically do that in the software and print them out. So even if it's hard to do in this CX5 3D printable material, or whatever he's going to call it, even if it's hard to do that, you can just print out another face in a different position too. So it kind of gives you two options, really. You can alter it software or, in the wax. And Dean says, I like how when they change from blue to yellow, the in-between bit is green. Yeah, did you notice that the 3D printer here seems to cut off, it spits out extra filament there. Where did it go here? Was it printing yellow first? So it comes out green and then it cuts it off the end and then goes back. And yeah, it looks like it's green even as it prints for a little bit. So it's not, they need to extrude more material before they change colors, but it's a pretty cool process. I think they call these rep wraps. 3D printers. Oh yeah, it's right here. Dual extruder rep wrap. And yeah, this is where you can make a 3D printer fairly inexpensively compared to some that are sold, but there are some which it's worth buying a printer, I feel, that you modify later as opposed to building it from scratch, because unless you want to spend the time, you have a lot of spare time. So Ron says, sculpting the basic form is much easier in the digital format, so I'll be happy to learn to work better with wax to cut that time. And I think it would be good for making silicone molds, but I think if you're going to print in wax, using ultracal might be kind of hard, only because the actual wax is hard, so pulling that out of a ultracal mold could be difficult, unless there's some sort of unless you sculpt it in such a way that there's not a lot of undercuts, but if there's a major undercut like the nostrils here on Matt Damon, that would be tough to pull out of a mold. All right, so anyway, that's really exciting, so definitely look forward to seeing more of that. So we got about, how much time left? Less than maybe like 10 minutes left. How long is this video again? Now, Edgar Humberto Alvarez is an animator who sent me this video, and Edgar made this project called The Invisibles, and it's about seeing or paying and focusing attention on to people that are homeless. And invisibles is a good term for homeless people, because not a lot of people pay attention to them. They walk by them a lot of times. They don't give them money. They feel that they're all just a bunch of hoodlums, or they're just a waste of life or something. People have these ideas about homeless people not being human and invisible. So before time runs out, I am going to play it for you guys. And it's won a lot of awards. And Humberto is a very compassionate guy, so it comes through in his film. So let's watch.
trying to survive, you know?
This is where I
said it just like that. And I said, if you think you're smart enough to make something up,
ya después que tú eres el padre, tú tienes que mantenerlo donde quiera que tú vayas.
Yeah, locked up there. Not
Oh.
sure. Oh, there we go. Okay.
What are you gonna say?
I have something to say, and I'll say it with my gut. The things that I've been through, as witness only God. People say that I'm crazy, a stranger from across the border. But I got my dreams, I got my life to live. I won't step to the side, I keep my head up high. Not forgetting to keep my feet on the ground. Listen up.
What are you gonna say?
Yo,
Yo,
I felt invincible, but I'm invincible. Everything I wanna do, I'll make it come true. I felt invincible, but I'm invincible. Everything I wanna do, I'll make it come true. I felt invincible, but
Right, so there you have it, and that is the Invisibles. And the website I saw there, I didn't notice, I probably should have brought it up before, was here, theinvisiblesanimation.com. So let's bring that up real quick. Theinvisiblesanimation.com. Okay, it doesn't look like it works. I don't think I spelled it wrong. Let me see if I can. Ah, okay. So it has to be www.theinvisiblesanimation.com. So here is the blog that you can see. And now I don't speak Spanish, but I guess, you know, it's kind of cool that you can see he's modeled some of the characters after real people on here. And this guy with his dog says Derek. This is Derek. So really cool that he used, you know, real, you know, live action backgrounds, if you want to call it that, and mixed it with stop motion. And I imagine, you know, when he animates those people shivering, it's because they're cold and all that sort of stuff that you would expect, being homeless, of course. You know, it's not going to be fun. You're going to shake, and maybe lack of nutrition. You're going to be mentally a little bit not too sharp, and of course your dental health and all that. So I think he tried to like convey all of that as good as he could to show, you know, that this is the reality, and trying to give some more awareness to the problem of homelessness. So Dean says, I noticed your mate Webster Colcord is in the credits. Yeah, Webster worked with Edgar a lot, and they actually met, I believe. What was Webster working on? I forget, but they had actually met, and they're friends. So yeah, Webster's a really helpful guy. Like if you ever ask Webster for help on something, he's always answering questions, and good all around dude. So this is cool. This is kind of, here's this is Maggie interchange. So it's pretty cool. So all these characters are based on real people, which is really gives the film that much more depth, you know. There's a good one. Yep, I know that, Dean. I know that. Okay, so and Randy Boyums says phenomenal, deserves every award. And Ron Cole says, very nice. I don't think I've ever seen such a heartfelt documentary of any kind about the homeless. There should be more. Yep. And all right. So anyway, guys, it is 9 o'clock. Hopefully this gives you some food for thought when it comes to stop motion. Gives you some ideas. You know, there's so many stories out there that could be told through animation. And this one here is really cool. You know, it can actually make a difference and change people's hearts, maybe, about the homeless. And all right, so see you guys all next week. The next show will be on the 13th, Wednesday the 13th at 8 p.m. Central. See you guys all later.